Students, I am going to take your paper 2 unit 5 portion, and in unit 5 we are going to study addressing learning needs, and there are 3 bits. In the first bit there is identification of learning needs of children in different stages and context of development, socio-economic, cultural, geographical, political, situation, etc. So this portion I will cover in 2 classes. In the first class I will describe you the identification of learning needs of children in different stages, and in the second class I will discuss identification of learning needs of children in different contexts. So today I am going to start identification of learning needs of children in different stages. So you all students, you all know what is learning. What is learning? What is the first question which comes to our mind is what is learning. So what is learning? Learning is the change of behavior permanently. Learning is the ability to acquire new knowledge, new understanding, new behavior, skills, value, and many more things. So learning is the permanent change of a person's knowledge and behavior due to his experiences. This word permanent, whenever we are discussing the learning concept, this word permanent change in our behavior is very important. So now you all know what is learning. Learning is the permanent change in behavior and acquisition of some ability, knowledge, understanding, skill, etc. and etc. Students, the concept is learning need. Learning need. Why? We should learn. What is the necessity of learning? Because children develop into people during their growth and developmental stages. Through the different developmental stages, they pass through different stages, and gradually from children they grow up, develop into people. So for this they need to learn the rules of society, they need to communicate their own ideas, their own desire, their own thought, and they need to persuade and change the minds of other people in the society. They have to acquire the values, the norms which are applied in their particular society. So learning need. What is learning? Learning need. Learning need. First is learning. Why should we learn? Learning need is the arises due to the gap between the learner's current level of knowledge and understanding and skill which he or she has already acquired, and the skills and the knowledge which is required to perform a task or a set of tasks. So the gap between what is acquired and what more to be acquired is rise the need of learning. So in this case the need of a child. Now you all clear about what is learning, why there is learning need, and in third section I will describe you the needs of a child. During the stages of growth and developmental process, there are certain needs which are faced by the child. First one is physical need. First one is physical need. In this physical need, what are the things that a child requires? They are shelter, healthier care, water, sanitation, protection from environmental pollution, adequate food, clothing, and protection from violence, exploitation and abuse, exercise for strength, endurance, coordination, opportunities for development of athletic potentials. These are the physical needs of a child during the process of growth and development. The second need is social, economic, and cultural needs and cultural needs. Social, economic and cultural needs. Under this head, what we are going to study, under this head, the knowledge and respect for one's own language, religion and culture, social and economic environment, appropriate guidance and support, access to better education, friendship, play with friends, freedom from discrimination, prejudices, meaningful, empowering work and opportunities for services. And in the third point, the need is psychological, including intellectual, emotional and vocational needs. These psychological needs include intellectual, emotional and vocational needs. Under this set, there is a loving family environment, a sense of belonging and identity, age-appropriate information, sense of worth, being valued by others, contribute positively to the world, develop cognitive talent and creative potentials are come under this head. Then the next is spiritual need. Next is spiritual need. Under this set, we will study understanding and appreciation of nature of life and the universe, what lies beyond time and material world and possibilities to connect with the infinite and the ultimate. Students, since we have already discussed what is learning, why there is learning need, what are the needs of a child, what are the needs of a child? They are physical, social, economic and cultural, then psychological, which again include intellectual, emotional, vocational and then spiritual. But even if we know there are during the process of growth and development, these are the needs which are faced by the children. But the question is how to identify these needs. The question is how to identify these needs. The question arises identification of these needs. Because if we don't know the needs of a particular child as a teacher, we can't help them to solve their problem. So, how we can identify their needs? First one is work in partnership with parents and students. Second is consult with relevant external agencies. Third is use assessment tools and materials. Then fourth one is observations and monitoring. This identification is very important because as soon as we identify their learning needs, then only we are able to provide them the particular education which can help them to solve their problem. So, early identification of learning needs is very important as learning difficulties can include reading dyslexia and writing disability. So from the very beginning stage, if we identify their learning problems, we can solve them and they can cope with the general normal students in a particular classroom situation. And early diagnosis also improves child's ability to reach their academic potential, prevents the development of low self-esteem and behavioral problems. Whenever they come in contact with different students in a general situation, they can overcome these problems of their potentiality, their self-esteem, their behavioral disorder. They can overcome all these problems if we identify their needs very soon and recognizing quickly support children and families. So, we have discussed identification of these needs. Why there is need for identification of these needs. So, and need at identification of these needs at different level or stages of growth and development. The first, there are three broad stages of development. First is early childhood, that is from birth to 8 years of age. Second is your middle childhood, that is 8 to 12 years of age. And third is your adolescence period, that is from 12 to 18 years of age. So, during the process of growth and development, the need to identify the problems, the child's problems, their learning needs, their identification of learning needs is very important, and in different stages, in early childhood, middle childhood and in adolescent stage, it is very important because accordingly, if we know the problems of the child or children, then only we can contribute them positively and help to solve their problems. So, in early childhood, the birth to 8 years is a critical period. This period is very critical because it is the beginning of the child's socialization and in all intellectual, social, emotional, in each and every aspect. This is the beginning. So, this period is very critical period. In this, identification of their learning needs as it is the base of many learning skills, prepare them to enter the school. Second, early childhood is this level. At this level, identification is important because increased awareness and ability to detect their learning problems. It helps in developmental delays led to the creation of early intervention services which can reduce special education placement. As soon as we know their learning difficulties, their problems, where it is, then only we are able to place them in their particular position. Then help the children through appropriate therapy for their therapies for their growth and developmental process. Then in the middle school stage, that is 8 to 12 years of age, this is a time when children develop competence in interpersonal and social relationships. The social skills learned through peer and family relationships, ability to participate in meaningful interpersonal communication. This stage provides a necessary foundation for the challenges of adolescence. So, this stage is very important to recognize their learning needs, to teach them the social and life skills that will help them continue to develop into healthy adolescence. And in the third stage, adolescent stage, 12 to 18 years, this period is very important from lot of point of view, and this period is culturally constructed period. This period is accelerate growth period. This period is cognitive developmental period. This period is changes, and this period is brings lot of physical changes and challenges for the adolescents. Then this is the period when they search for their identity, and there is from the emotional point of view, there is also the emotion is always in a swing condition. So the mood is always swing from, and the issue of swing mood and issue of self-esteem is a big question. So we have to identify the learning needs in different stages so that the teacher can provide them the particular requirement, the particular learning or the knowledge, the skill which they really require to solve their problem. Teacher must aware of the shift in cognitive development they are occurring and provide appropriate learning opportunities to support individual and their growth. Teachers must aware of the challenges facing by their students in order to identify and help to correct their problems whichever they are facing in their stages of growth and development. So, teacher must be a mentor to the students' need and provide all sort of learning experiences which can really help them out from their learning problems, and they can face their learning needs and which are required by them in different stages of their growth and developmental process. Thank you.